Tell you what, the government's just getting absolutely out of hand. As you know, we have chickens. I don't show the chickens too much anymore. I just feel like I've covered the topic a million times, but I've been getting a lot of questions about chickens here recently, and it seems kind of obvious why. You know, egg prices have come down over the summer dramatically. Now, at least that's what Carolyn and I have experienced, but I suspect they're going to go right back up here pretty shortly. I'm going to explain all this, but I want to tell you about the chickens first. We incubated most of these chickens from roosters and hens that we already had. I think all of them, but that black bird, that's the rooster. And then we have these white birds, those are Brahmas. Those were not incubated. Everything else in here was incubated. The last flock we had, a dog got hold of them the day before Thanksgiving last year. So what is that, 2022? These guys were in a different chicken coop that we have. We have a regular chicken coop that I built, and then we have an IBC tank that we raise the adolescents in. Not the chicks, but the adolescents. So we incubate them. We have an incubator up there. It's really nice when you get them at, well, you can get them on Amazon, but of course you can get them at Orscheln's too. Although Orscheln's has changed their name. I think they've been sold out by several different companies. And I can't, Bumgardner's or something like that is what ours is called. I'm not even sure I'm saying that right. We incubated 21 eggs, I think, 23 eggs. And I think we got, I don't know, 13 or so. I don't remember the exact numbers. Now we've lost a few. We've lost a couple Brahmas. And as a matter of fact, we just recently lost one of our, not even sure what it is. Just came up missing, so it must have got out and didn't come back. We've had that happen before. Brahma did that. We can get, last summer we were getting about 13 eggs, and of course then they go into a molt, whatever you call that, where they lose their feathers. So they're spending all their protein regrowing their feathers for wintertime. They pretty much stopped laying eggs. We got one chicken to lay eggs, and I'm trying to figure out which one it is, but she always laid it in here. It's a blue egg, so we know it's an Americana. So the Americanas are the multicolored ones. So we know it's Americana because Americanas lay blue eggs or green eggs or something like that. Well, recently we started getting two more eggs, brown eggs. So we suspect the brown eggs are probably from the Brahmas, but of course they could be from the, oh heck, I'm not going to remember the names of those. The brown ones, the tan, or the golden ones, I guess is the best way to put it. But the Brahmas are winter birds. And so they don't lay a lot of eggs every day or every week, but they lay through the winter better than the other birds. Although Carolyn and I have decided that the Americanas have always done us very well. So we probably won't get any more Brahmas. We'll just get Americanas, hatch Americanas. Now, we have this rooster. We've had several roosters. The thing I notice about roosters, it's good to trade them out regularly. We had two roosters in the beginning, Roo and Frenchie. Everybody loved the Roo and Frenchie, but we had to get rid of those guys. They just started tearing the heck out of the hens. They get aggressive the older they get. Of course, we had two roosters, so that wasn't a good thing. Then we got a Brahma rooster, and he was huge. I bet he was every bit of 15 to 17 pounds. He was just a monster. Beautiful looking chicken, just beautiful. But he broke his leg. He was so heavy that when he jumped down from his roost, he broke his leg. So, I mean, unfortunately, we had to put him down. So we got him last spring, this black one. I forget what it's called. Somebody will say in the comment section, I'll be, oh yeah, that's what it is. Now, the woman promised me that we wouldn't butcher him. Of course, we weren't. We wanted to breed him. So we wanted to start breeding him last spring, because if you breed in the springtime, you'll get eggs about August, September time frame from those chickens, the ones that you just incubated. And they'll lay eggs all through the winter because they won't go through a molt that first year. Turned out, apparently he wasn't old enough to breed yet. He didn't start breeding until about July. And by that time it's too late. They won't be old enough to lay eggs by August or September. So that means they won't lay any eggs until next spring. And we did that with our first batch of Americanas. You're just feeding chickens for no reason. It's just a waste of money. So our goal has always been, and we've never been successful, is to have 3 age groups of chickens. one that we just incubated, a 2-year-old, and a 3-year-old. So here's how it would work. The 3-year-old we would butcher in August. Then the 2-year-olds, of course, they wouldn't produce through the winter very many eggs. You know, we're starting to get more eggs out of these guys, but they would go into a molt. But that 1-year-old, the one that you started in the spring, they'd start laying in August. Well, then next year you would start over again. So in August you would butcher the oldest. The youngest would start laying eggs. The middle group wouldn't do anything through the winter. And then next spring you'd start over and do it again. And that way you could actually kind of maybe cycle out your rooster also. I have a fear of roosters interbreeding with sisters, or daughters, I should say. I guess it's daughters. So I don't like that idea. So after a while, I probably would trade him out anyways. Just, you can find them pretty cheap. On Facebook Marketplace, somebody's got a rooster that they didn't realize they got out of their batch, and it starts crowing and the neighbors are complaining, so they sell it. That's how we got him. He was just making too much noise for the neighbors. And they didn't ask for a rooster, they wanted hens. Now people will ask me if we will preserve our eggs. We don't. We eat everything that we get. And I don't know how to explain this any better. People don't seem to understand that you can eat eggs every day. It's actually pretty good for you if you do it. We're carnivores, so every day we eat eggs. And I would say that we've never had more than 2 dozen that we're behind on. If we get too many eggs that we need to start preserving or whatever, we'll have hard-boiled eggs for a snack, or Carolyn will make deviled eggs. We have eggs for all kinds of different reasons. So no, we don't preserve eggs. We eat everything that we get. Our goal is to get them all year round. We haven't been successful at it because every year we have a problem, like the dogs, or something happens. But we've never had a complete catastrophe where we've lost all our chickens. Speaking of losing chickens, I was a little bit concerned last night. I've never had a sick chicken, an injured chicken. Well, our first batch, we had some gullet problems and different things, but we've never really had that many sick chickens. Give them some grass. They like grass. But last night I came down to put them away, and they were on their roost. Everything was fine. The rooster doesn't get on the roost anymore. He used to, but he doesn't. He stays below. I guess to keep guard on him. I don't know what the deal is, but he doesn't get up there. There's plenty of room for him. I go to close up the door, and there's a puddle of blood. I mean, a huge puddle of blood. And I'm looking, I can't figure out what's going on. I mean, there was so much blood, I was sure that maybe a raccoon got in there and killed one. But the thing about raccoons is they don't stop at one. They will kill several of your chickens. And they don't necessarily eat them. They eat a little bit of them, but we had a possum in here. Now, possums are a little bit different. Raccoons can have rabies. I'm just kind of throwing out information just so you know. So if you see a raccoon, you gotta be cautious with it. But possums also don't kill your entire flock. Normally, they don't even mess with your chickens. We had some meat birds here, and they were pretty small, and they would not go in the coop. Of course, they were meat birds. They're not very smart. And a possum reached through there. We had a trail cam looking. He reached in and grabbed a feather and yanked it off the chicken. That's the most I've ever seen a possum do damage to a chicken. So we put this mesh up here, and that keeps them out now. But possums can climb. So one day we saw a possum in there, and the only thing he did was chase the chicken a little bit. The chicken ran off. They don't want to fight. They're not interested in fight. What they are interested in, and I see it all the time, is eating your eggs. So they'll get in there to eat your eggs or eat your chicken food, but they're really good climbers. So are raccoons, but I just never really thought of a possum being a good climber, but I guess they do. They hang up in a tree upside down, at least as my imagination as a child. Another thing we try to do is we want to keep them warm in the winter. And the way we keep them warm is with carbohydrates, corn specifically. So we give them corn, and that fattens them up, that keeps them warm. Also, if you give them corn late in the day, the energy from the corn will heat them up. I forgot to mention, the one with the puddle of blood, I got off distracted because of these airplanes in the air. She, I guess, hurt her toenail. I mean, I could see the blood dripping from her toenail a little bit. But I went and Googled it, and it says that they bleed excessively from their feet if they get their damaged feet. Now, in the wintertime, people will tell me I need to get a water heater and these kind of things so that the water doesn't freeze. I just come down several times a day and I get that little water feeder. I got 3 or 4 of them. I just keep them in rotation. So this one will freeze up, take it up there, bring another one down. And I do that about every 2 hours. That way I don't have to expend the electricity to heat the water. This is easy enough to fill up and come down. Also, I get to keep an eye on them. I mean, it's winter time. I want to keep an eye on them. But the thing is, the chickens are a lot more hardy through the winter than they are in the summer. I am more concerned about chickens in the summer than I am in the winter. They get up to 100 degrees. These guys are struggling. They just struggle so much. But in the wintertime, they do pretty good. But again, try to keep them fattened up with the corn. But in the spring, you want to get that corn off. You don't stop the corn. Also, you got to be careful that you're not reducing your protein too much by feeding them corn. They got to have, 16% to lay eggs. So we feed them sunflower seeds, but you want to make sure that your sunflower seeds are around 21% in protein. You can get different varieties that have different protein levels. Got myself in a little bit of a predicament earlier this fall. I noticed that they stopped laying eggs and I was worried about it. So I started checking proteins on everything that we were feeding them. And I was getting them 15% protein sunflower seeds, and that concerned me. So what I did was I went to the store and got some meat bird feed. I think it's 21%, 22%, somewhere around there. 18%, I forget what it was. But I gave them some higher protein just to get them back up in their protein levels. That way they could hurry up, get their feathers replaced and start laying eggs. And I think it's been pretty successful. I mean, we're starting to get eggs again, so that's good news. Last year, I reported that the government was culling chickens, and it was something like atrocious number. 58 million chickens, egg-laying chickens, were killed last year because of the bird flu. And I'm very suspicious of this. When you go to the hatchery, for example, they are very cautious on the bird flu. They make you duck your feet in a bleach solution, kind of a rug mat when you walk in. They tell you not to go into the bird area. Employees are very hygienic, got their hands clean and all kinds of stuff. So they're very cautious. And then when you look at hatcheries, I mean huge hatcheries that are just in the business of hatching eggs, it's a huge procedure on what they got to go through. They have to take a shower before they go to work at the facility. They have to put on bodysuits and make sure they're completely clean so they don't lose their eggs. So I don't understand, if a hatchery never have a problem with bird flu, why does the farmers continuously have problems with bird flu? Well, my conspiracy tells me because they make money off of it. First of all, egg prices are really low. How do you raise egg prices? You reduce the amount of eggs that are being shipped to the store. So what they do is they report, oh, we got bird flu. So the USDA or FDA, whoever comes in, says, okay, well, you got to cull all your chickens. And the way they do it is absolutely inhumane, I think. They overheat them is what they do, basically burn them up. And so what happens next? Oh my gosh, the farmer's going to lose all his money. No, there's no way they're going to lose money. See, the hatchery, I bet they don't have this insurance program where if they lost all their chicks, that they get reimbursed from the bird flu. But I bet the farmers do, or the government supplements, probably more likely there's government supplements. So the farmer says, oh yeah, got bird flu. USDA says, we'll call them. Well, last year we were up to 58 million. This year, they just started back up. Just as egg prices were coming down, only, and this is what's so funny, not the meat birds, not the chicken that you buy to eat meat, it's only the farmers who are hatching or laying eggs that have these problems. So we're up to 17 million chickens culled already this year. Place in Ohio just, I think it was 1.35 million. So I expect it once again, you got to be cautious with your chickens. If you have a flock over a certain size and your backyard chickens, they'll come out and inspect them. I don't know who does the inspection. I'm not even sure I trust the test, the test to see if they got bird flu. I mean, we all remember the pandemic thing, and the test was telling everybody they had the thing. So I suspect that this is kind of similar, where the test just gives you all kinds of great positive results just as the prices of eggs come down. They want to get the prices back up to about $3.50, $4 is my guess. That's where they were last year. We keep our flock big enough so we can have eggs all year round, but I think the limit is 30 when the USDA can get involved, 30 or 50 or something like that. So we keep it under that number. So that's how we take care of our chickens. So I hope I can inspire you. Just find your own food source so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.